Hi, Patrick Fulop here at Effective Martial Arts HQ. In this lesson, how to tell if a technique is effective. Alright, so in this video, we're going to cover everything you need to know to be able to determine if a technique that you're watching either in person in a class or on video actually can work in a real situation. So, quick overview first, real simple. This one is going to be short and sweet. So essentially, you want to consider the success rate of the technique. Has it been pressure tested and demonstrated to work consistently in real situations? So that's the first most important thing. The second thing to consider is the way it is taught. So does it consider both sides of the equation when explaining and demonstrating the technique? And the third aspect to consider is your practice methodology. So in order to make the technique work for you, you have to apply certain specific practice methodologies, namely using progressive resistance, so that you will be able to apply it in a real situation eventually if you practice it enough. So if you like this kind of subject matter, click the like button right now, leave us a comment below. And if you're not subscribed to our channel already, I recommend you do so right now. Here at Effective Martial Arts, on our channel and in our school, we teach one curriculum for striking, wrestling, and grappling. So everything you need to know for hand-to-hand combat. Basically, we created a belt system for MMA. Maybe the first one. Is it? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. All right, so first aspect to consider in order to determine if a technique can actually work for you in real life is its success percentage in high-level competitions of whatever martial art that you're considering. So mixed martial arts, grappling, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, whatever aspect that you're looking at, has it been demonstrated to work consistently at a high percentage with high-level competitors? And has it been demonstrated to work on the street as well? Have we seen footage of this technique working in street fights successfully? Now, it's important to say when we say success percentage, there are no absolutes in martial arts. A technique doesn't just like work or doesn't. It's always on a scale. So it has a high percentage or a lower percentage, and some are higher, some are lower. Nothing is perfect. Okay, so violence, fighting, is a chaotic environment. There's so many variables to consider. There's the proficiency of both fighters, there's the size, there's the speed, the strength, the context. There's so many things to consider that nothing can work all the time. But certain things work most of the time, and those are the techniques you want to focus on the most, especially when you're beginning your martial arts training. Now, the other aspect to consider as well, if you are a beginner, is the simplicity versus the complexity of the technique. So that's going to tell you the amount of practice required in order to make the technique work for you. So we recommend to focus on the most simple techniques first. That just makes more sense because you will reach proficiency faster by focusing on those techniques. So that's why our white belt curriculum really focuses on the bare bone basics. So for grappling, striking, wrestling, we just work on the basic body movements, how to have the proper coordination, stability, strength, and to execute the movements correctly that are simple so that you can rely on them and you can get good at them and you can use them within a relatively short amount of time. But just know that when you invest enough practice, you can make a complex move work for you as well. It's just going to require more practice. Now, the second aspect to consider in order to determine if a technique can work is the way that it's taught and demonstrated. So if you're looking at a video, a lot of people like to learn martial arts through video, and I think it's a very powerful way of learning. So we just published a video recently on how to do so. Check it out in the cards above. But essentially, if you're looking at a demonstration of the technique, you want to be looking at the other guy. That's the secret. Okay, look at the other guy. Does it take into consideration the reaction to the technique? So when the professor, teacher, instructor, or coach is explaining the technique, is he telling you, yeah, the other guy's going to be trying to do this, and if he does this, you do that. So we want to be considering it from both sides of the equation. So that's what fighting is. The guy's going to be trying to defend himself, or girl. Both fighters are going to be trying to impose their will upon each other. So when you're going for a technique, you have to take into account the common reactions. This is really important when you are learning techniques. You want to know what the other person is going to be trying to do. In the same line of thought, you want to take into account the reaction of the person, and you also want to respect the concept of timing. So when you explain the reactions, it has to be one for one, meaning or close to it. So sometimes somebody can be a little bit faster than the other person, but when you do one move, typically the other person also has the time to do one move. So in order to make your technique work, the goal is to get one and then 2 steps ahead of the other person, so to oppose your will faster, but still the other person will be trying to react. And the goal is to get them to react a little bit too slow so that you can get your technique to work successfully. And the third very important aspect to consider in order to make a technique work for you. So if you determined a technique that's high percentage, been demonstrated to work consistently at a high level, you found a source that explained it to you in the right way, knowing what the reactions are so you know what to expect from your opponent or training partners or attackers, whatever the situation may be. In order to make it work for you, the key is progressive resistance. So this is a very fundamental concept that we emphasize all the time with our students, and it has to be taught, meaning we have to learn to be good partners. So we're going to do more on that later and demonstrations on how to do that with a partner in specific situations. But in a nutshell, in order to be a good partner, first, when you're first learning a technique, you want to be doing little to no resistance. So you're letting your partner do the technique. So if it's a takedown, you're not going down for them, but you're not fighting it. So you're just kind of standing there, the person does their technique, and you go down when they push you down. You don't fall on your own. Okay, so same thing for an arm bar. So you don't give them your arm, you don't extend it for them, but you don't fight it either. So that's no resistance. Same thing for striking. If you're practicing target striking, you're not moving the target, you're not increasing the resistance in any way. But very shortly, once the technique is done correctly with no resistance, you then want to increase the resistance incrementally. So that's what we call progressive resistance. And that is key to be making sure that you're able to apply the technique eventually in a full-on sparring situation or even self-defense or high-level fighting situation. You have to have the experience of problem solving in real time and knowing what to do when the other person does the most common reactions. And there's so many variables, there's no really way to learn this kind of algorithmically. You have to kind of problem solve in real time. And you won't be able to do it if the person just kind of reacts full on right from the start when you just learn the technique. The person has to do a little bit of resistance first. So we like to work with percentage, go 10%, 20%, 50% resistance, 75%. You typically never go like full on 100%, but that's going to be like in sparring. You're not using full speed or full strength because that can be dangerous, but and also it's over exerting. So you're going to fatigue yourself a lot if you're doing full on, even in a real fight. So you want to conserve some energy. But long story short, you want to progressively increase the resistance so that your partner is eventually, so when you're successful at 20%, then you increase and so on and so forth until you can get to a very realistic practice method, which will ensure your best chances of being able to apply it in a real situation. But again, nothing is 100%. So it really comes with practice and drilling. That's going to be your recipe in order to reach success in your martial arts techniques. And there you have it, guys. How to tell if a technique is effective. 3 things. 1, success percentage. Has it been demonstrated to work in high-level fights or real situations? And does it have a high success rate and success percentage? Has it been pressure tested? Second aspect is the way that it's taught. Look at the other guy in the demonstration. Does the other person look as they're actually doing something? If they're just kind of being a dummy, that's not a realistic way to teach and demonstrate a technique. So you want to consider both aspects of the equation and know what the common reactions are when you are learning a technique and when you're teaching a technique as well. And the third aspect, in order for you to be able to apply that technique eventually on your own, is your practice methodology. So making sure that you use the concept of progressive resistance, starting with no resistance and increasing incrementally so that you are eventually able to apply the technique in a real situation most of the time. Because again, nothing is 100%. There you have it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, click the like button right now. And the question of this video is leave in the comments, is this information new to you? or have you heard this before? And if so, was it presented in the same way? Leave in the comments. I want to know if you guys, if I brought something new to you, or if it was valuable in the way that it was explained. Or if you heard it before and it was completely already known, leave in the comments as well. I want to know. All right, till next time, Patrick Fulop here at Effective Martial Arts HQ in Pointe Claire, West Island of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Thank you very much for watching. Practice well.